Welcome to Toyah and Robert's Burning Questions of the Week. Only a few of your many, many burning questions which come our way.
Yes, but we're going to be answering them in depth. So, Sarah Feverero has asked two questions. When will size small be available for Fripp's My Bitch? Now, I thought you just went online and ordered your size and then it was printed to order. Am I wrong?
I believe you're right, little lovey. So if Sarah would like to use her initiative, head over to toyandrobert.com or Toyah's Facebook page. You'll see the links and you can go and order your size of the Fripp's My Bitch t-shirt.
So what I've done, I've written to the company that makes them and I've said that your inquiry is coming, so they'll be ready for you. And I've already said that you need it as soon as possible. And thank you for that. Now, Sarah also asked, this is a question for Toyah. Do you have a favourite King Crimson album and which one is it? The only King Crimson album I had before I ever met Robert was Discipline, which for me crosses many borders, many boundaries into different types of music. If I heard In the Court of the Crimson King beat Red before I knew you, I'm not sure that it was my type of music, but Discipline I found so contemporary, so extraordinary, and coming out of your work with Bowie, that album just elevated you even further. I adore Discipline. I think it's descriptive. It's for a singer as well as for a musician, which is really important in music that sometimes is not singer friendly because you do instrumentals. But I love that album, but I never put two and two together that it was Robert Fripp. Everyone in my social circle was talking about Discipline, but not the band members. And that kind of happened in the early 80s. I do have No Pussyfooting, and I do have all of Eno's albums. So your name was there. But in answer to your question, Sarah, Discipline for me, I think is an album that is timeless, it's brilliant, it's inventive, and to another musician, utterly inspiring.
Well, Discipline has just had its 40th anniversary on the 22nd of September. And in terms of not associating players and their names, Jeremy Stacey, our middle drummer and keyboard player, works a lot with Noel Gallagher. And Noel Gallagher, reported to me by Jeremy, very much like the guitarist on the two Bowie records, Heroes and Scary Monsters, but didn't realise it was the same guitarist as the main guitarist in King Crimson.
Well, that's a younger generation, isn't it? Because I was working for Channel 4 this week with 4 people who age range 35 to about 55. They didn't know who Sting was. 3 of them knew who I was, but the 35-year-old didn't. They didn't know you, but they knew your work. So I think more than ever now, artists have their generational audience. So our generation, we remember Devo, we remember Pierre Ubu, we remember Iggy Pop, we remember Lou Reed, Laurie Anderson, we remember you, we remember Bowie, Alice Cooper. But I think we're now moving, with you at 75, me at 63, we're now moving into that era where our generation will remember us, but the new generations are living a completely different cultural existence. And I think we should forgive them for not knowing our names and our work. They can always find it. They can always go on the internet and search for us. But I think culturally, the world has never been changing as quickly as it is coming out of lockdown. Would you agree?
Pretty well, yes, lovey. I mean, I remember Elvis, but Elvis had precursors that I had to move back to once I knew Elvis.
Yeah, Elvis created the blueprint for who and what we are, for every musician, don't you think?
Well, John Lennon had a wonderful turn of phrase. He said of people, there are 2 types of people, before and after Elvis.
Yeah, I think young people will discover Elvis. It's pure, it's classic. So let's move on. Christopher Von Koth. As an introvert myself, and I think he's referring to you being introvert, Fripp, and not me, how does one push forward doing extrovert activities without being exhausted or needing to recharge one's energy.
Well, what you won't know, little lovey, is that Christopher, on his own, travelled all the way from, I believe, the Midwest to New York on his own to see King Crimson at the Beacon Theatre in New York about 6 weeks ago. Now, assuming Christopher is introverted, that's a real go-getting thing to do.
But you can travel and keep in your bubble. And I totally understand what Christopher is saying, that if he's in company, if he's with people, like many empaths, you get absolutely psychically, physically and spiritually exhausted. And that's not being nasty and that's not being negative. But certain people get exhausted by communication, even general conversation and banter among groups of friends. So what Christopher is asking is, how does one push forward being extrovert? Well, Christopher, I don't think you need to be extrovert. One thing I absolutely love is to be at a party and be invisible. I love it. I get so much from it. Observing people, feeling their energy, feeling their joy, feeling what moves them, what music moves them, seeing what they want to eat, what they want to drink. That for me is the enjoyment of the party. But once I'm in a circle of people who are asking me questions or I'm needing to interact with, I get really, really tired. And we both have this characteristic that conversation for us is it's exerting for us. It tires us. And I imagine, Christopher, this is the same for you. How do you move forward with this? I would say, and you did this traveling to New York on your own, you put yourself in a situation where you can observe the world, enjoy the world, but not have to comment on the world. And every now and then your bank will be full of energy and you will be able to dance and communicate and have group meetings and talk to people. And then you will have to step away again and recharge your batteries and fill up the bank account with energy again. And just accept that some people, like Fripp, me and you, are just like that. I need so much silence to be able to function within a group of people. Make sure you get that silence. We call it filling the bank account. And then you can go into company with good grace, be involved, knowing you can step away and recharge again. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Now, my wife, as with her discipline and her practice as a performer, has her own exercises and approaches. This is a very good question, and probably there's a more sophisticated side of this in terms of practical exercises, which can't just simply be talked about here.
My husband has just said I'm unsophisticated.
No, my wife is most sophisticated and has a remarkable practice for centering and focusing and recharging with her particular practice. If Christopher would like to come to a guitar circle course, then some of the exercises are available.
Okay, can you give him an example of one of the exercises?
Yes.
Okay.
The assumption of virtue. So Christopher, this is an exercise to set yourself for maybe 5 minutes. Here you are, an introverted character with something to do out in the world or in front of other people. What you do is bring to bear the characteristics of the person discharging this particular function. What is their bearing? What is their demeanour? How do they carry themselves? What quality do they embody? This is simply playing a role, being functional. Plan this and then move yourself into this situation and discharge what you've seen in your own mind's eye as an exercise, playing this role for maybe 5 minutes, and then reflect on it and see what you might have learned from this.
So as an actress, I interpret that as visualize who you want to be as detailed in that visualization as possible, What do you wear? How do you move? How do you speak? How do you respond? What style of rhythm your language has, and embody that. Start embodying it, and slowly you will become it. Is that the kind of thing?
Yes, and as I said, my wife has her own practices and discipline which are most sophisticated.
Well, one of the things I do, I can't bear the way I walk because I've had disability, I've had lots of surgery, and every now and then I catch how I walk in the old way, and I just have to pull myself back up together, pull myself straight, and reinvent my walk. So we're always, I think, all of us addressing becoming something else or developing into something else that we feel is a truth to ourselves. So there's nothing wrong in changing yourself. We all do it, But that exercise that Robert's just given you is a really important and very creative way of doing it.
May I say here, just before we wave to our chums and leave, I love the way you walk.
Well, I'm really lucky you love me. I'm really lucky.
I adore my wife. I love the way you move.
My fashion today, Tim Tolkien made me this armour. It's part of a costume of a show I'm going into. Now, Tim Tolkien is J.R.R. Tolkien of Lord of the Rings, his great-great-great-nephew, and he's a sculptor. And he lives around Moseley in Birmingham, and he makes me my armour for stage. Just thought I'd point that out.
I'm frightened.
Everyone, stay safe. We will see you tomorrow for a really crazy Sunday lunch, and next week for more burning questions. Lots of love from Toyah.
And from Robert.